What's the funniest game that turns serious fast? The setting is a family reunion at my grandparents' lake house. The game is called Pass the Question. Here's how it works. Someone spins an empty bottle. Whoever it lands on has to answer whatever question is written on the card they draw. Everyone always rigs the deck with embarrassing questions just to make each other squirm. One year my cousin got, "Who's your first celebrity crush?" and admitted he had posters of Hannah Montana hidden behind his bedroom door until he was 16. We laughed about that for years. So when my aunt suggested bringing the game back at this year's reunion, everyone cheered. I honestly thought the worst thing I'd hear all night would be someone admitting they still slept with a nightlight. The first question landed on my uncle. "What's the dumbest lie you've ever told?" Without missing a beat, he said, "I told your grandmother I knew how to fix her dishwasher. It was the washing machine." I flooded the kitchen. Everyone burst out laughing. My cousin's card asked, "What's the most embarrassing thing you've Googled?" He sighed. "How long can you survive after swallowing a Lego?" The table exploded. Even Grandma was crying with laughter. The next few rounds were just as ridiculous. Who had the worst haircut? Who faked being sick to skip school? Who accidentally sent a text to the wrong person? By then everyone had relaxed. That's when my younger brother picked up a card. He frowned. I didn't write this. The card said, "What's one thing you've never told your family because you're afraid it'll change how they see you?" The room got quieter. He smiled nervously. Then he laughed. "I'll skip." My grandmother shook her head. "No skipping." He stared at the floor for what felt like forever. Finally he whispered, "I dropped out of college 4 months ago." Nobody moved. Our parents thought he was finishing his engineering degree. Instead, he'd been working nights at a warehouse because he'd failed almost every class. Mom looked heartbroken. Dad didn't say a word. My aunt quickly grabbed another card, trying to lighten the mood. It landed on me. "Who's one person at this table you owe an apology to?" I didn't even have to think. My older sister. I admitted I'd let her take the blame for breaking our dad's expensive camera when we were kids. She'd been grounded for 2 months. I'd never confessed. She stared at me, then started laughing. I knew it. "You cried way too hard for someone who was innocent." The tension eased a little. Then my grandfather reached for the next card. He adjusted his glasses, read it twice, then quietly asked, "Who wrote this?" Nobody answered. He read it anyway. "If someone here betrayed the family, would you forgive them?" Nobody laughed. Grandpa slowly folded the card, then looked directly at my uncle. "I've been waiting 15 years for you to tell them." Every face turned. My uncle's hands started shaking. He finally sighed. "When Dad had his stroke, I borrowed money from his business account. I kept borrowing. I never paid it back. It wasn't a few $100s. It was almost 80,000. My mom gasped. My cousins looked completely stunned. I thought that was the end. It wasn't. Grandpa stood up, walked into his office, returned carrying a dusty envelope. I knew the whole time. Inside were bank statements, letters, and a repayment schedule. He'd never reported it, never confronted him. He'd simply waited. I wanted to know if my son would ever tell the truth without being forced. My uncle broke down crying. For the first time in my life, I saw my grandfather cry too. Nobody touched the game after that. The cards stayed scattered across the table while everyone talked until almost sunrise. My uncle started paying every dollar back the following month. My brother went back to school the next semester, and every family reunion since then, someone always suggests playing Pass the Question again. Grandma immediately says the same thing every time. "No, we already found out more than we were supposed to."